guys, it's Sam, and this is my spoiler-free review of Days of Blood and Starlight by Laini Taylor. This is the second book in the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy. I have a review for that first book that's spoiler-free as well, so I'll link that on the screen in case you haven't read that one. Also, there is a trigger warning for sexual assault in here, so if you are reading this series and you haven't heard about that, then definitely go into it with a little bit of caution. It is a pretty graphic attempted sexual assault, just so that you know. But this book directly follows the events of the first book and all the things that happened that kind of threw the characters' lives into turmoil, and it's really good. So first off, I talk about the world building. The world in this gets expanded far more than the first book. So in this book, you do go into the world of the Chimera and the Angels. There's a map in the front of it, which when I saw that, I was like, here we go. So you get to see a lot more about their cultures, about their history, what their cities look like, what their people look like, what they've been doing, what they've been fighting for, all this stuff. It is much more fast-paced in that way than I feel like the first book is, because you do get just a ton more information, where the first book there was kind of lags and we didn't know a ton about this like magical side of things. Next, let me talk about the characters. I loved the characters in the first book and I loved them in the second book. I just adore them so much. Karou is growing as a character so much. She learned a ton in the first book. She is like, you know, two people almost. So she's really learning from that, and she's faced with a lot of just need for vengeance. She's faced with a lot of sadness, a lot of remorse, a lot of grief, and is just trying to find out where her place is in the world, because she feels like she's stuck between two worlds. And we have a very similar kind of feel with Akiva. He is also struggling with his past and his deeds and what he's found out, what Karou's found out, everything about that, and coming to terms with what he's going to do moving forward. They're both making decisions about what's going to happen moving forward, where they sit with their people, where they sit with each other, and their friends and stuff. The friends are a huge part of this book too. We get to see a lot more of both of their friends slash found families, I would say. And it's amazing. I loved all of those characters in the first book, and I love them even more in the second. You learn a lot more about them, and even characters that don't play a prominent role you just fall in love with like really instantly, and it's great. And lastly, the plot. I thought this plot was amazing, very fast-paced. I didn't think that the plot in the first book dragged at all, but I feel like this one flew by even quicker. I know some people had problems getting into the first book and found it a little bit slow. There's no slowness with this. This is a constant, like, stress. I think I tweeted about this, saying that I started reading it and I was just nervous. Like I couldn't put it down, because I was like, this is nerve-wracking. This is scary for them. Not scary in like a horror way, but like, what's gonna happen to my babies kind of way. And it just flows so quickly past. And like I said, you learn a ton more about the world and stuff. So there's just more action in that way. And it's not like you're just sitting in Earth, in like the human world, like just kind of doing nothing. Like, everything is new, everything's interesting, there's battles, there's violence, there's just like a sense of dread for the characters at all times. Fun stuff! Tons of fun. So overall, I loved this one. I'm really looking forward to the last book in the series. I feel like this series is going to be definitely a favorite of mine. I hope the finale lives up to my expectations. They rarely do, but I hope it does. There was a few things in here, but like that I can't even really pinpoint, but I couldn't quite give it 5 stars. I'm being really picky with my 5 stars these days. I might actually go back after filming this, like in a few days, because I just finished reading this like a couple hours ago. But go back and maybe bump it up to 5. We'll see. If that happens, there'll be some text on the screen being like, yeah, Sam's an idiot. It's totally 5 stars. But I loved this. I didn't feel, this might have been it, I didn't feel quite the like relationship angst that I felt in the first book. You know how I run on that. Like, that's part of my bloodstream. It keeps me alive. So I feel like not having that took away a little bit from this one for me. Only a little bit, like only a tad. But the few moments that I did have, I was like, oh, I'm dying. So yeah, it was great. It was really great. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. I was obviously very excited to get all of my feels out for Days of Blood and Starlight, and in my feels, I completely forgot to mention that this was my Patreon book pick for the month. So every month on my Patreon, I run a poll, and my patrons get to vote on a book that they want me to read and review that month. This was the pick for July. Thank you guys so much for picking this one. If you want to support my channel and vote in the poll every month for the book that I read and review, I will leave my Patreon link on the screen. So I am going to be doing a spoilery gush about this book, talking about my feelings about it. So I will link that on the screen for you to check out if you have read this book and you want to hear my thoughts. So comment down below, let me know what you thought of Days of Blood and Starlight. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye!